recording.
We're loose now, baby. We've had
Recording.
that 5 minutes of vamping, and now we're great.
It is our warm up. It's perfect.
It is. We gotta talk shit. Everyone's gotta figure out how old we all are, except for Phil's age, mysteriously absent from the call chat.
38. I said it.
Boom. Oh damn, Alan, put on blast. Yeah. Are we
Middle of the road?
Everyone,
He got
is
this
everyone
shit.
going? Great.
Ready.
Maybe. Yeah. Alan with a shrug. All right, cool.
Sure.
All right, great. Hey, everybody, welcome to the USL show, your number one, your favorite podcast, hopefully your favorite podcast, about the entirety of the United Soccer League Championship. I'm your host, as always, your favorite podcaster, not sure your favorite cheesemonger's favorite cheesemonger. You can't prove it wrong. Evan Villa, joined by a lot of my soccer friends tonight. In fact, starting from west to east is your favorite ginger in San Diego, and that's only because I don't live there. It's Alan Underwood.
It's just a ginger beard. The hair is brown. The beard is ginger. It's my pirate name, Gingerbeard. Things are going all right. Lots to talk about today.
We'll do that. We will do that.
Yep.
It will happen. And I do love, unless you're watching the live stream, right off the bat, hot out the gate, Alan Underwood with a visual reference on an audio podcast. So thank you for that. Yeah. Although to be fair, I mean, I made one too, so who knows? Hey, his team also made the playoffs and play in California. It's Pony.
Yeah, and I actually am the most one westward in all of us because California is weird like that.
I didn't
You
know
confused me when you confused me when to Alan right away. I'm like,
couldn't
wait a
be
minute.
bothered to pull up a map, and I just went off of state and not your weird regionality hellscape fire all the time nonsense that's happening out there.
Well, you know, fire, smoke, walk outside, you basically cough immediately. You know, California.
Yeah, I should have introduced you as he's now picked up a 20-pack of a day smoking habit, Pony. And it's not because you wanted to, it's because
cigarettes, no beers, maybe, but you know,
all
quarantine.
natural.
we all have our own. It's all natural.
Mostly.
Speaking of all natural, he probably smoked a lot of American spirits in college and played way too much bass. It's Phil Grims.
Yeah, the yellow ones. The yellow ones were the all natural
Yeah.
ones. I think. Yeah.
Well, they all are now allegedly. But,
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I didn't get the minty ones. A lot of guys had the minty blue.
It's not, you can't just call them mint flavored. That way they're marketed for children. Anyway, speaking of children, he's too busy getting degrees to smoke. It's Ryan Allen.
Hey, Evan, and my favorite geography fact with the West Coast is that Reno is further west than Los Angeles and San Diego.
What?
Mind blown.
Ryan, I know this is going to sound terrible, and I know your dad probably listens to this. I thought you were going to say my favorite cigarette brand, that I was going to lose my mind. I was about to. Oh man, I would have just quit. I would have stopped recording. Anyway, where do I go from there? Speaking of quitting, a lot of teams had to do that voluntarily this week as the playoffs have officially been decided. That'll work. We'll go there. Hey, what you can do, USLchampionship.com, and then when you're on the homepage, there's a thing called Playoffs Pick'em, and you put in your picks for all these 16 teams in at least, every week of this thing. So you start with Hartford and St. Louis, and you go from there, and you keep going. And then below that, by the way, there's a terms and conditions thing, and there's a whole blurb about submitting to the privacy policy of USL. But below that, there's a bunch of expert picks. I say that in air quotes because we're not. So it's Nick Murray, it's a friend of the show, Mike Watts, it's Kelsey Steele, it's Devin Kerr, it's poorly tattooed Jeff Reuter, and then it's us. And if you scroll down longer, we win by like a lot. We got 35 points this year, y'all. And Nick and Kelsey got 23, and then Devin and Jeff right there on 22, and then Mike with 19. So really, if you're not listening to us for our just expert opinion on all these games and how they're going to shake up, and not some sort of weird crapshoot, just one by default kind of thing, I don't know what you're doing. Guys, we killed it.
It was, yeah, it's interesting. I wondered if it helps that, we were talking before, does it help that there's, 5 of us or 6 of us?
There's a large
deciding-
conglomerate of people. Yeah.
I think for some reason it made us a little more practical every single week because on my own I would pick some get a weird hair and pick a weird one, but as a whole we would avoid that. I wonder if that's like we made the most boring picks overall and that's how we won.
Yeah, we had the chalk picks most days.
Worked, man. Sticking to it, right?
We're nothing if not stubborn here, apparently. That being said, I suppose we'll talk about these playoff matchups. And Phil, we'll get it out of the way. Your boys managed to beat Indy 11 in their quote unquote final match, which is not their final match anymore because they get one more. They'll play Hartford Athletic on the 10th at 7:00. And we have St. Louis going ahead and causing another upset, more or less, here.
Yeah, and that's all on me too. I want to make that clear to everyone. I think we were tied. It was 3-3 on.
I mean, I went for the narrative points and I picked St. Louis out of the jump. So
yeah, so I don't usually do this. I usually try not to affect the voting, but I ended up giving myself the tiebreaker since I'm the one that makes all the emails all year. So I chose St. Louis on that one and kind of talked everyone into it. So just so
you also probably decided before you did that it wouldn't have mattered anyway, and you were just going to submit St. Louis.
Yeah, I pretty much tallied the votes in my head, I think, and it didn't really matter what you wrote. I had them all in my head already. But yeah,
that's fine.
I affected it, so we'll see if it's on me if I'm wrong. But I do have faith in St. Louis that that Group B is a lot different from or not Group B, Group E is a lot different from Group F, and
yes.
so I think the challenges St. Louis has faced is going to be, even Sporting Kansas City too has been really tough, and so I think that's gonna be a lot harder than Hartford, but no better way to tell than to play a playoff game like this. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's right. I mean, do you know, apart from that one win over the Riverhounds, the only people Hartford's beat all year is Red Bulls 2, Loudoun, and Philly. They beat nobody else all season long.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And I will say this, that they are very dangerous. I think someone talked about their style of play changing and getting a little more conservative and hitting people on the break. That does work against St. Louis for sure. I think that's the best way to beat them, is to force them to hold the ball. But I think they can handle this team. It's just that Hartford can just like pop up out of nowhere and have like a real amazing series of an attack. Any one player can score from a million different spots, more so than some other teams out there. And so, if they pick their moment and then they defend out, I could definitely see it. Otherwise, I do think overall St. Louis, I have a lot of faith in them. So don't want to be dismissive of that team at all.
Kind of opening it to the floor a little bit. Sam Fink is retiring, is he not?
I don't think, no.
One of your boys?
Oh, if they are, I don't know it.
Someone's definitely hanging him up. I thought it was Sam Fink.
If I might have missed it. If so, I'm really sorry. If so,
that didn't help.
I know Cal Gregg is going to the Players Association. I could see that. But I assume he's looking for a job.
Anyway. Point. Yeah. St. Louis tie-in fail notwithstanding. If you were retiring this year, would this not be the worst year to retire?
Because it's COVID?
Because you had a half, or not even a half season, then you had that whole layoff, and now you have the rest of your season, and you could get bounced out of the playoffs, and then you're just kind of quietly done, sort of thing.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, not great. Not great. And I mean, that's not even just a USL thing. That's a in the world thing, because everyone had the little, starts and stops and things like that. I don't know. It wouldn't feel like a very memorable season to me, at least. And it was just such a strange way to go out, and then and now, right, you're back playing games at least, but you don't have any fans. You don't get to retire in front of your home stadium with anybody there and all that stuff. So yeah, just a really weird time.
Yeah, it's almost too. I would have this like, you can't beat me, COVID. I'm not going down like this in this year. I'd have that kind of feeling against me for sure. But
Alan, do you stay on an extra year?
I think it's a tough choice too, because it's like you got to do what's right for your body.
Yeah.
Like I think it's more than just a year thing. But I think, I mean, if you can go another year, I think most people would like to go another year. I think it's tough with St. Louis players because, I mean, they're going to have to get picked up somewhere else. But there's a lot of good players that I think some teams would give a chance to, even if it's like, hey, we'll give you a chance for a year, we'll sign you on, see what happens, and go from there. I think it's an intriguing matchup. You can't even choose your favorite color kit. I mean, it's can't even like go with that avenue. Sorry, bad joke. Thanks, Ryan, for laughing. No, I think it is a tough year. But on the flip side, it's like, man, this year's been tough. Maybe it's just time to do something different. And I know a lot of people are having that thought as well, that maybe this is the time to hang it up. I had some time off, time away. I just finished the season, and then, greener pastures and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the two best storylines possibly in the entire league.
Yeah.
We have St. Louis in their last year making this final run of this as they make the East playoffs, and you have Hartford, who did any of us even think they'd come close to playoffs this year? I mean,
Well,
even after the groups were announced, no one thought they were that good. It's interesting to see the ultimate dark horse against the team on their basically final run. And if either of these teams makes the final, that's who every single neutral is going to root for.
It does have that like grizzled veteran versus the young upstart rookie kind of storyline of, can that grizzled veteran give them that one last hurrah before they, sail off into the sunset, or does that, that young upstart hotshot get his due? A little bit of a Ted Lasso moment.
we will move on. Ryan, being located in the Carolinas, I feel like you're an authority on this one. Charleston, Charlotte.
I think this is going to be a really interesting one. Charlotte will be hosting a playoff game for the first time in their history with a good group win in Group G. That kind of vindicates Pony that Birmingham shouldn't have been a side that would have won.
Well, that part vindicated.
You're just
Pony.
gonna make me come. You're gonna make them come at me again, okay? I've had enough of that in my life.
Another part that wasn't so vindicating for Pony. Wonder what that part is.
I think through a lot of us, especially in the BGN polls, as it seems that at Carson, and that it seems like many are picking Charleston as either a dark horse pick as well to win Eastern Conference, or one team that should almost outright win the conference entirely.
Is Charleston actually a dark horse?
To win the whole thing, sure, but
I mean,
I'd say yes in that it's not like they built on last year a lot. It's like they had something pretty bad, and it's not like they took a step up. They have taken a giant leap, and is that leap champions? That's where it's kind of hard for me to believe.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at it and say, if I don't see how you have Charleston outside of your top four to win the East right now.
I think I could get on board with that. But you had them what, Pony?
I have them third in mine, but
okay. See,
it's right around there. It's the Louisville, then it's pretty close between Tampa and Charleston for me. It's my number 2 and 3.
And aside from a really exciting to watch match between the Miami FC and Charleston that saw the Miami win 4-3, they're basically 10 of their last 11 matches for the Battery are unbeaten.
Yeah, we'll see. It is fun knowing that the Charlotte Independents are the most online team in the USL Championship, and they will undoubtedly see that there is 5 out of 6, again, quote unquote, experts that have picked against them this week coming up. And I'm sure that will only add fuel to the fire, especially if they do, in fact, beat the Charleston Battery and then get to rub that in all of our faces again.
Let's see. Team of Destiny, let's go.
There you go.
I think we'd all be fine with it.
Speaking of things we'd be fine with, Watch. No.
I was like, who are you going to talk about next? You're going to get someone mad
It's
at
going to
you.
be Tampa and Birmingham, isn't it? But I almost want to say, speaking of teams of destiny, the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Because if our ice hockey team can do it, so can we. They'll play Birmingham Legion, who are in the playoffs. No surprise here, all the experts clean sweep for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And Ryan, you have a very important question about what happens, best case scenario for the team in Florida.
We were talking about this prior to the start of the show. We were
Let me
curious,
stop and start the show.
since the 2 stars are, I guess, a part of the logo for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. If they win the title this year, do they get a 3rd star, and do 3 across the top, or does this become a larger star above the 2 stars, kind of like what Seattle did after winning their title?
Oh yeah.
What happened with Seattle? Explain that.
I think they had 2 stars, and then what they won in 2019, they added it as another star on top of that.
No meaning per se. That's just how they designed it.
LA Galaxy is pretty weird with that as well. Like they had like one like gold star that meant like 5 titles, but then they went back to doing like another like 5 or 6 stars above the crest.
There's so many teams in this league. Like El Paso's another one. Sacramento's just got a bunch of stars on the logo in general. I mean, it's about to get wild, you know. What did
I'm
the
still waiting
Rowdies
for
do?
them.
I don't know. You go
It
above
was-
the 2 stars, right?
I guess the ultimate tell would be what's going to happen with Minnesota United when they win MLS Cup. Is there a big star that's outside the logo anyways turn into one, or?
Yes. I don't know.
Do we care about 2050 or,
Oh,
hey now.
there it is.
Hey now.
There it is.
Hey now.
But the funny thing with Tampa Bay is their stars are from NASL, right? Correct.
I'm sorry.
Tampa Bay, they have stars already from NASL, correct?
I'm not familiar with that last bit there.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah.
I forgot we weren't allowed to talk about that.
Yeah. Actually,
Embargo.
ironically, it's N Star SL. So,
Okay.
but sorry, just to stop bantering. Yes, those are their 2 soccer bowl victories.
Just making sure.
Yeah. So I think you'd put it above, maybe.
It'll be fun. It's a fun
Either
time.
way, I think it'll look nice. I think 3 stars atop the side will be fine. We've seen a certain women's team do that before. That looked fine. Look better at 4 now, but yeah. This one, can everyone tell that we're not too worried about Tampa Bay here? Given we spent the majority of the time talking about what happens if they win the cup and not what happens if they lose to Birmingham.
Where are they? Are they in your top 4, Pony? Are they one of the 4?
Yeah, they're definitely. I mean, Birmingham. I mean, they're a fun team, but I have no faith in Birmingham right now. I think that they could win this one, but they have no chance of winning the cup to me.
Oh, really?
I mean, like they've had a few good games. I mean, let's not forget they beat Charleston, they beat Charlotte twice, so they've beat some okay teams, but I don't think they're gonna have enough to win the entire cup.
Interesting. It's just the playoffs are even more exciting this year in that these guys haven't even come close to facing each other in most cases. You know, like there are so many teams that are so untested. It'll be interesting to see. Is Group B and is Group E, are they actually groups of death, or are they all just kind of middling? Like, are one of them or both of them gonna get destroyed somewhere, and we're gonna be like, well, I guess that group wasn't good after all? I doubt it, but it will be interesting if that happens.
Yeah, don't remind me. Group G's had some snipes at me in the comments recently because of stuff, but I'm gonna stand by it and just double down.
I think you should. I like that.
Never would I thought that I'd see someone tweeting at a goalkeeper that they ruined their bet, than a goalkeeper responding with, yeah, whatever. On American soccer Twitter. But here we are. 2020, everybody.
Good stuff.
Hey, speaking of having 2 stars above your crest, Louisville City get to play Pittsburgh in a match that should not be in the first round.
No.
This should have almost been a semifinal or final for the Eastern Conference.
Sad.
John Hackworth and his team look for a third star in USL against Bob Lilly and, weirdly enough, the second best team in Group F, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, who've been good. Alan, do you have any thoughts on the final Eastern Conference matchup before we slowly work our way west?
It's the one that's, to me, like the most intriguing of matchups as far as like a Western Conference neutral. Like, it's two classic teams facing each other. I think the way that, Louisville was like languishing at the beginning of the season, and then again halfway through the season, even though it was a half a season, they still waited to halfway of the halfway, managed to turn it on. I think it's hard to pick against Louisville this year, although I do in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I think it's hard to pick against Louisville. I think that they're a solid team. I like the way they look, and I like their pedigree in the postseason. Last season, I picked Pittsburgh to win it all because I thought that they would have a chance, but they just couldn't quite get it together in the postseason again. So, I think it's chalk at this point to pick Louisville, and I think it's a good choice. So does my dog.
They'll be carrying an 11-match unbeaten run into the postseason. But the only meeting between these two clubs to end the season was that 3-1 win for Pittsburgh at the basically start of this kind of restarted season. But obviously Louisville has certainly grown since then, and Pittsburgh kind of fell off the pace and lost out on winning the group, which what many of us probably picked to them to do at the start of the season. So this is certainly an interesting game, but I would have to agree that Louisville just seems too strong coming into this match.
You almost think of this as like a 3-game series because all these games, the last 2 meetings have been so epic and such good games. And so, and it's also to kind of think about, cool to think about how I think everyone expected Pittsburgh to kill Louisville in the playoff game, especially after that first half. And then Louisville came in and won it. And then I kind of thought the opposite about this one. And now we're thinking Louisville's going to destroy Pittsburgh and maybe we'll be surprised. I just think it's really cool to kind of put all 3 of those games next to each other and think of them as a series.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, I think this, just looking at what I'm setting up, this might be the best game in the first 2 rounds. I mean, Louisville has won 9 of 10 games in a row right now, and Pittsburgh's still Pittsburgh. It's still Bob Lilly. This could be, I mean, I could see this being a 1-0 game, and I could see this being an extremely high scoring game too, because both teams have the talent to go both ways. It's just gonna be what exactly happens and how early it happens. But I mean, to me, if you could watch only one game in the first round of all the games, this is the one you watch, because it's going to be a good match, and it's going to be 2 very, very, very good teams who, if either Pittsburgh or Louisville won the final, no one would go, that's a surprise. We all go, yeah, that makes complete sense. Sure. So, I mean, like it said, there should be a semifinal or final game, but because the way brackets broke and because Pittsburgh had that weird hiccup late in the year and Hartford decided to be good, we have this in the first round. So this is the match of the first round and probably match of the second roundish, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Louisville will beat the other team from Pennsylvania in the playoffs this year. Yeah, I love these little styles clash kind of games. I really do. And should anyone be surprised that Louisville likes to wait until halfway through the season, then really turn it on, and then just kind of burn everybody in the playoffs? / Brian Ownby scores goals.
It's what they do.
It is what they do.
It's just frustrating.
Yeah, Indy fans are frustrated.
Well, they have many, many reasons to be frustrated.
Yeah, well, fair.
Many. In fact, you know what? I have an idea for Indy 11. I know a guy
playing the football field.
Okay, I have 2 ideas for Indy 11. 1,
I know where this is going.
playing on a football field. 2, I happen to know a guy who's a pretty good head coach, who's out of a contract in now. Really likes developing with kids. Pretty good man manager. Has pretty good tactics. Has teams or had teams that played a little bit above their weight in some points. Have beaten Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And just give him a call. He's available. Oh, he's probably also really mad that he didn't coach this year. So there's that. Just a thought.
I agree.
Just a thought. Coached Irishman before, so Patty Barrett, no big deal. Hey, no, not the segue for that one. Speaking of not big deals, Phoenix Rising and Sacramento are going to play each other.
Pony, why don't you start us off?
Yeah,
Why me on this one?
because
Okay,
you don't have
fine.
a RAN attached. Well, you do. Well,
Yeah, I mean, with everything happening in Phoenix, this could be interesting because they're obviously out their Golden Boot winner and potential MVP.
it's a
The
shame.
coach things up in the air, and we're just gonna kind of push that aside for now and just talk about the game as it is. And Sacramento is an interesting team because they are a tough out. They're not a team you can easily beat, but they haven't played a lot of teams as skilled as Phoenix, even if they are down their top player. So, I mean, I think this could actually go either way. I would not be completely shocked if Sacramento pulls this out. We saw what El Paso did, or not, what Austin did last year in Phoenix, where in their first game they took it to penalty shootout, and no one thought that would happen. And Sacramento is probably a team who is supposed to win 1-0 instead of winning, a 4-3 shootout game. If that happens, Sacramento's probably just doomed out the gate. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I have Phoenix advancing, but I don't think it's as solid as most people think it's going to be because Phoenix has looked very shaky in the last few weeks. If we ignore a lot of things, they still look shaky in other games. They're not the Phoenix of, to me, last year, where you go and look at them and go, they're the best team in the league. They're going to win it all, and there's no question about it. They're more of a team who you look and go, they are above average, but they have a lot of interesting weak spots that the right team could exploit. I'm not quite sure Sacramento's the best team to exploit all those weak spots, but it's going to be a closer game than people think. I think it's going to be very low scoring, and I almost want to say whoever scores first wins this game because I think whoever scores first locks it down, and neither team, Sacramento can't break through a team playing prevent, and I'm not sure Phoenix could break through Sacramento, who is a defensive side, saying, we're not going to let you score for this last half hour.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is going to be okay. I know Dadashov is still toward the top of the Golden Boot race, and the thing is, they've got a guy off the bench named Santi Moore, and so like all he has to do is step in for Flemings, and I think of all the people in the league, he's one of the top guys who can do something like that and fit right. Since he's been there the whole time anyway, I think he's very capable of just stepping right in and being fine. I think the only worry you have with Phoenix is like depth, and so I imagine they'll come out hot, try to score 2 goals. But then again, do they want to rely on that defense, which has been their weakness all year, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. I don't know how they'll do it, but I don't have worry about the first 60 minutes or so with Phoenix. It's can they, if they're behind, can they come back with depth? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, on my bracket, I have Phoenix wins 1-0. So that's where I am at this one.
Both teams have conceded 17 goals on the year, and Pony, to fact check the score first wins first. And the 7 times that Sacramento had scored first in a match this season, they won 6 of those games.
Yeah, so I think I would say whoever scores first wins this game. That's my prediction.
Nice, that's good stuff.
And it wasn't the 7th time the 2-1 victory of Orange County when they were down a man.
No, Orange County actually scored that one first. I was counting there. I was counting.
I think Brian's talking about solely Sacramento.
Sacramento scores first. Yeah,
not all games.
Sacramento's a weird team, man.
Yes,
always
they are.
No matter
they are
the coach.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Sacramento's team, they've scored 3 goals on 4 occasions this year, and they have 1 win from those 3 games, from those 4 games.
So weird.
It is a little bit it's tough for me. I have to pick between my children. On one hand, we have Santi playing for Phoenix. On the other hand, Drew and Matt playing for Sacramento. You know? How does one choose? Alan, you have a game and match and points related rant, so I will let you take that.
I have a game and points related rant.
Well, our rants, I suppose, are related, but yours relates to on the field in some way, where mine is more tangential. And
Hard gear shift here.
yeah.
Alternate transition is, I think Phoenix is playing the bad guy that everybody's rooting against, right?
There we go. That makes more sense.
No, because
Really?
you're a heel like Louisville City because you just win all the time, and then you're I don't know.
Well, I think that's both.
Phoenix has never actually won.
Right, and
True.
like you're not a bad guy because one of your players got put on administrative leave for calling Colin Martin a homophobic, I almost said it, a homophobic slur. And then that dude puts out a non-apology apology, which another wonderful thing about that whole passage was I thought Rick Sean's statement as far as statements about things that happen like that go, because they're all a little corporate, right? Like you're never like, oh, that was really heartfelt and very like calculated, and they wrote a whole 3 pages on whatever. I thought his statement was good. It was fine. Like he said, yeah, I can see how people were offended by that. I didn't mean it that way, but also I'm going to learn how to become a better ally, which great. Thank you. All you can ask for. I don't like, when people say here's steps I'm going to take to do things, I don't like to keep dragging them for it. When conversely, your player does that and then puts out a statement that says, I didn't do it, and then gets, found by the league and suspended for 6 games, which like you did it. Yeah, that's a bad statement. And there's a difference, I think, between on-field play and on-field results and on-field, wow, they keep beating us, they should stop beating us because it's annoying. Making you bad guys compared to, wow, your player said something indefensible to the only gay professional soccer player that exists, which hell of a coincidence, and making you like bad guys because of that. Because we know / have known people in the Phoenix Rising organization, and that is not reflective of the Phoenix Rising organization. I would like to say that because the weird thing is I saw a couple people like lumping people's I don't know, vitriol towards Johnson Flemings as like vitriol towards Arizona as a state, which like no, one of our dear friends is Kyle Kepner, and one of my dear personal friends is a bisexual corrections officer in Arizona. So no, I love Arizonans. I have family out there too. So I don't think Phoenix Rising are like the bad guys we all want them to be, because I don't think anyone wanted anyone to say faggot on a soccer field. Yeah, I don't know. So who cares about the soccer game that's getting played? I think golf clap, round of applause for Rick Shantz, and very much goodbye. Whoever wants to sign you can do that, but I hope no one really does, as prolific as a player as you were to Junior Flemings.
I think that's really well said, Evan. I agree with everything you said. I think Alan though has had obviously somewhat of a biased opinion, I guess.
Well, but I think Alan has a really good point about the league, because okay, so Loyal forfeited these games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which sure, unprecedented, but then you do that with it?
I think there's two sides of the argument, and I think both of them are fine. Loyal gave up those points, so they're not going to get them back. Like, I get it. It's fine. But the 2 teams that benefit the most from these outcomes are the 2 teams that are perpetuating hateful words on a pitch. And to not have a mechanism in which to hold teams accountable after the fact is, to me, problematic. And Pony and I talked about this last time is, he's like, I don't think we should take points from somebody, but you have to have a mechanism where if one team's trying to do the right thing and the other team just doesn't do the right thing and they end up benefiting from it, there needs to be a way to pull that back. I know, where do you draw the line? You draw the line is if your player is caught saying something racist, homophobic, the whole list of rules, and nothing's done about it in the game, afterwards, that player at that point is an ineligible player and you forfeit the game 3-0, just like you would if you subbed on an illegal player. Like, those are the conversations I think the league needs to start having about is, are we punishing or are we allowing a team to punish themselves to try to do the right thing while rewarding a team for essentially not doing the right thing? Because all indications is there were people who heard both of those incidents on the pitch and after the fact admitted that they heard them, but at the time did not do the right thing and say, I heard it, and say something about it. And that's what I think we're trying to change. And if that means some rules need to change, I totally agree with that. Like, Phoenix benefits because now they're, 3 more points higher than they would have been. LA benefits a little bit because who knows what happens. Everything else being the same, LA is down a man, down a goal, and the path in Group B is different. So I do think there needs to be a little bit of self-reflection from the league around rules, and pull players in and pull representatives in and make sure it's a diverse group of people and a diverse group of players and a diverse group of referees and officials that go in and make those decisions to say, these are the issues we saw. And I get that we can't do anything about it now. Like, it is what it is. The rules are the rules.
Yeah.
Them's the rules. Like, I'm not asking for retroactive points for San Diego, and I think that's a little bit ridiculous. And I understand why you can't take away a point from LA or take away 3 from Phoenix, because we have to establish rules. We can't just do like willy-nilly at the last end of the season. Oh, this was wrong, we're going to change everything. It's like, I mean, yes, that would be ideal. In a perfect world, we would like, this is unfair. But if there's one thing I've learned from being married to an attorney is sometimes laws are unfair and you have to rewrite them because they don't say what you want them to say. And I think this is the point where the league can step up and say, this is what is important to us. And it doesn't matter if MLS agrees or Liga MX agrees or, Ligue 1 agrees. Like, this is what we stand for. So our rules should reflect our beliefs and what we believe in.
There you
You
go.
really, really nailed it. I guess my next question would be, is it ridiculous that I wish Los Dos and Phoenix would have sacrificed their points voluntarily? Is that ridiculous? Is that too much to... Is no one on the planet ever going to do that? This is what I want.
I could see Phoenix maybe have, but Los Dos, I mean, the game played out. I mean, as much as I hate to take this stance, I think you have to treat what happened in both those games as a missed red card. As you say, like, if you watch replay, go, that should have been a red, the ref missed it, and we move on from there. It's like, I don't like I explicitly do not like defending this, and I think that
But I mean, that's a letter of the law
Yeah.
defense, right? Where it's like,
yeah,
in
so
the
it's one of
book,
those. I take kind of the objective defense of saying, per the rule book, this was a missed red card, and let's say in a other game you look back and say, hey, this player took down someone outside the box that was a clear red, the ref gave a yellow. You're not going to tell a team, please forfeit your points because this was the wrong call. I mean, I think we need to go back and look at how we treat this next year. And there's pros and cons to it both ways. I mean, let's say we do, if someone says something like this, you forfeit points. Well, if, let's say again, LA, San Diego in the 70th minute, an LA player says this word, why is the game just not over? Because that's LA's lost all their points no matter what. I mean, maybe we go into whatever team used that forfeits all their points, and that's the end of it. So the 1-1 draw becomes San Diego gains 1 point, LA gains 0. I don't know what their correct response is, and this is going to be a lot on the USL to try to come up with what the response is this offseason. And I hope they work a lot with the USL Players Association, the Black Players Association, the teams, because this is not easy. And the USL could be the team who makes the first step forward to combat this in more in a way that's just saying, we basically encourage the team to cut the player and we're going to give them a 6-game suspension. That's what it is. But the way it is now doesn't really punch the team, it punches the player. And I can see the argument to say, yes, this is the player's fault. They screwed this up. They should be out of the league. And we've seen that in the past with Basidis for Tulsa recently. And we've seen that with Parks for Pittsburgh and all of them all in the past for the stuff they've done. But I think we should be better. And this is a good chance to become a better league and become a example for not only USL, but for what everyone else is doing. I mean, if the USL becomes the example for the MLS, if it becomes the example for anything overseas for how to address this, that's amazing and that's great. But between everybody, the players, the coaches, the teams, they need to agree on it, and the league needs to back them up. And at that point, we can move forward. But until then, I don't really know what you're going to do without at least someone being upset with the results. And as much as we don't want someone upset with the results, we have to be better people. And if being better people means someone's going to be unhappy because they can't say what they want to say, that person needs to be gone.
The league they have said they're going to look into this very strongly. They've hinted that there will be harsher punishments. I think it's our job to hold them to it, make sure they do. Love that you said that they could take the lead in this, and I love that thought.
And what's kind of funny, I was talking to somebody that said, how is this any different than your man on Los Dos that got just canned the week before? And if you look at it, anyone know that guy's name? No, nobody. Great. Well, Junior Flemings is not some random midfielder for a MLS 2 side. That guy doesn't matter to the Los Angeles Galaxy as an organization. Junior Flemings, Golden Boot, probably would have been some kind of income for Phoenix because he was going somewhere else. Hiya. And then it's just a completely different situation. It's such a high-profile player and a high-profile team and a high-profile coach. If it was the third-string goalkeeper for Philadelphia Union 2, A, I'd smack it myself, and then B, you wouldn't be talking about it 2 days later because it would have been dealt with. So it was the perfect storm, in a way, of really a shitty thing to do to somebody. In general, you did it on a soccer field. Your coach said something weird and obtuse to the other coach, who was halfway across the field at that point. And then, the league didn't necessarily have to deal with it because the team did. So anyway, I'm sure Santi will score. Yeah, not do that. Thank God. Talk about the most upward trajectory for me is this guy gets fired for using a homophobic slur, and then one of your friends comes in and scores. But I digress.
Playoff soccer.
The magic of soccer, the forced magic of playoff soccer. Hey, speaking of Santi, his former team, New Mexico United, take on San Antonio. I'm just gonna say it. I have San Antonio FC winning the whole damn thing this year.
Ooh.
Then they turned the Spur into a star.
When we filled out our a couple of different, forms or whatever.
Yeah, Carson likes to harass us around this time of year with forms.
It's great. You'll be seeing that from BGN pretty soon, I think. But he asked for a dark horse, but he also said they couldn't win their group. And my dark horse would have been San Antonio for sure, because I think they can do it. Everyone, I think, picked Pittsburgh because they qualify strangely in that world. But San Antonio looks great. Tony, you had some thoughts about San Antonio.
I mean, Look, people say I hate San Antonio. I do not hate San Antonio. I think they're just a little bit overrated compared to where they really are. I mean, they won one of their games against a playoff team this year, where they beat Tulsa, and that's the only playoff team to beat all season long. They're a good team. They have a lot of talent, and I have them winning this first round. Let's say I have you beating New Mexico. Don't come at me that hard, but I just think San Antonio doesn't have the talent to knock off 2 or 3 really good teams in a row as it stands.
Is it because they're not as a defensive team like you like them to be?
Well, I mean, I like teams who are defensive. I'm not gonna argue about that at all. But I mean, they played 4 playoff teams. They won 1 game against those teams.
Yeah.
I just don't see them making the complete run that I want. When I look at it, go, this is a playoff team. They're going to go on a hot run, and I just don't see San Antonio doing that. Especially, I mean, they lost 3 of their last 5 games.
2 of those coming against their potential next round opponent.
That's interesting.
Half my hate mailings you sent to Ryan because he just backed me up on this.
It's true. It's true. We'll talk about their potential second round opponent, I suppose. Also, Phil broke his finger playing adult rec soccer the other day. I'm going somewhere with this. Stay with me. If anyone heard belabored breathing on my end just then, the guy that I sleep with rolled his ankle pretty badly in his adult soccer league. So, sorry
Just
for that.
now?
Like a couple hours ago.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, what?
It was worth it. I scored.
Oh, he scored?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Worth it.
Hey, one more goal in the month of October in 2020 than Junior Flemings will have. Good on you. Good on you.
Well done.
And you're gay too. That's wild. That's crazy. That is crazy. Anyway, moving on. But I'm not. But I am because a couple more games. Hey, El Paso Locomotive unfortunately gets to play Tulsa FC, who win the award for best makeover this year. I thought I was going to be Colorado Springs. I apologize. It was Tulsa. El Paso, who've been the surprise of the season.
Have they been?
Just give it to me. Just give it to me.
It's an 11-match unbeaten run entering the postseason, and they have not conceded a goal since September 16th.
Yeah, they're almost 500 minutes of shutout soccer, and that's why I have them winning my West bracket, because they are hot and they have been playing very, very well. And just right now, I see no one in the West is playing better than El Paso, which, given my track record for picking teams, you're going to lose the first round. But
You get
That's the way things work out.
You get the vote of approval from Pony, so there's something.
that's
Harry
probably a
says-
bad thing. But
Harry's in the chat and he says, "Don't sleep on Tulsa." So
Tulsa only
It's a lot
also
of-
have just 2 losses this year, like El Paso, but they entered the postseason with 7 draws, which is one more than the amount of wins they've had this year.
draws don't mean a whole lot in the postseason either.
Gets you the penalty kicks.
Unless they're really good at penalties, then it means a lot. What if that's a thing? What if Tulsa's just like really solid at penalties? I want someone to play the playoffs for penalties every game.
That would be funny.
That would be like if we're like negging Bob Lilly, that would be like his strategy.
Yeah.
Just get to pens. Actually, no, don't do that.
I like
Never mind.
I like El Paso as well. I think they're a solid team. I think they did really well last year, so I don't think it's a huge surprise that they're doing well again this year. I mean, they lost a couple pieces, but were able to kind of figure out how to rebuild losing, a talent. But we saw with the Miami FC that talent doesn't always equal, success on the pitch. I also agree that I think they're going to be the Western Conference team to watch. I think I have them in the finals. I think I have them winning. I think I might even have them winning them all. I forgot what I filled out or what I thought or said. I mean, everything changed in the past week, and my brain is not exactly firing on 100% these days. So take everything I say in picking teams with a grain of salt, but I do really like El Paso. I think they're a solid team. I think they're definitely a good postseason team, and they're going to be a tough out. And you're going to have to score goals to beat them, and they just don't let people do that. So as much as I love San Antonio, I do think, the Cup's going to get some love in Texas. I just don't think it's San Antonio's turn.
Is that because the National Soccer Hall of Fame is in Texas?
Yeah,
they probably have cups there, right? No? All right. Moving on, we're finding a playoff matchup, so I can stop making dad jokes, apparently. Reno takes on Los Dos in a match that they'll be fine. They'll probably be fine.
Yeah, this is the biggest blowout of the week. I mean, I don't see any shot LA has to win this game.
No, not really.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm with him.
Surprise Zlatan.
Yeah, I mean it's just yeah. That's why Reno does not play good defense, but they could score, and LA can't play defense. And I think this is just going to be a very high scoring game, and Reno's just going to. I mean, I have it down as 4-1 to Reno, but I think it could be under on the goals on that one because LA can't play defense, and Reno just scores. That's all Reno does. Is they can't play defense either. They didn't just outscore. Like Reno's not team is going to say we're going to beat you 1-0. Reno's team who says we'll beat you 5-3, and you just kind of have to live with that. And I think they're going to do that to LA because LA can't play defense. It's just going to be a super high scoring game. Reno's going to get on a pretty big high after it. We'll see if they could take it into the second game, but this is the perfect match for Reno, a team who can't play defense against a team who just lives on scoring. I mean, this is the biggest lock out of every single match in the first round to me is Reno beats LA.
I think there's two. I'm going to be contrarian. Not that I don't think that LA is going to lose, but I think there's two things that make this an interesting matchup. Is LA likes to run, and they are young, and and I think they can go a full 90 with Reno with that man marking, pulling people all sort of out of position. Another thing, LA doesn't quit because I think LA players, it just feels like we never have anything to lose, so we're just going to keep playing. And they like to foul a lot. Some of the games we watch, there are tons of yellow cards, tons of professional fouls, tons of breaking up some of the pace of the game. So I think there's a chance that LA could do some damage, but 9 times out of 10, I think Reno's winning this match. I think there are some interesting things that LA might be able to show up and do, but this being on the road, I think puts LA at a disadvantage. I think this is at home. I think it's a little bit closer of a match, but I'm interested to see how well those kids do out there, and with that belief of we're playing with house money. But the inside of me really, really, really hopes LA doesn't win at all ever and just gets blown out. FIFA style. If someone was playing me who knew how to play FIFA, it'd be 9-2 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Reno scored 2 more goals in 9 of the last 10. LA's allowed 2 more goals in 9 of their last 12. So I think I think the only way LA advances is if Reno gets a very early red card.
Yeah, if you want to watch run and gun, open soccer, everyone's running around, tons of offense, this might be an enjoyable match for you to watch. This is not going to be anybody sitting in a low block and defending with 9 or 10 behind the ball. This is going to be a pretty offensive firepower. So if you like goals, definitely watch this one.
Yeah, if you like Lily Ball, this is the wrong game to watch. If you just want to see chaos and maybe 10 goals scored combined, check out this game.
Or just wait for the highlights.
Or just rewatch Aston Villa Liverpool.
Oh no.
That was 9 goals.
Yeah. Come on.
I'm kidding, of course, Alan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not
So
kidding.
am
I'm
I.
actually
I
mad.
love
I'm
that.
kidding.
I love that the rest of us all make these really hot takes and like just go off and say some shit to each other or anybody else that's in the sphere of influence that we have allegedly. And the second Ryan tries to like do banter thing and like fake upset someone, he just hard on the brakes.
He said this
We've
comment. He
tried for
immediately
so many years
apologizes
to
and
get
moves
Ryan
on.
to just be okay with shit talking, and it still hasn't worked, and I'm mad about it.
I can at least celebrate this past weekend's Premier League, but I will say with Lostos, they're one of the 5 teams currently in the playoffs who has made an appearance in the USL final.
Wow. Yeah.
Battery, Louisville, Sacramento, Phoenix, and Lostos.
Interesting.
This year's John Molniak led Los Dos, apparently.
Oh, I do have one stat. St. Louis is the first USL team to make the playoffs in both the East and the West.
And they'll be the first to lose in both the East and the West.
Nope, winning all the way through.
Winning at the cost of death. What a way to go out.
Going out strong. That's
Take
great.
the cup with them.
Do you think if we had a Hartford Sacramento final, that'd be the furthest possible teams away from each other?
Oh.
Well, now that I know that Sacramento is farther west than San Diego, yes.
What about Tampa, Sacramento?
Yeah, I think Tampa might be further. It's going to be close.
I don't care enough to fact check this right now.
To Google Maps we go.
Ryan will have it for next week.
I'd say like that. It's like Ryan and I are just bothering the both of us immediately.
That was a stat.
We have to
Ryan
look
and
it up
Tony need
right
to
now.
find out what it is.
Is that all the teams? Did we do it?
We got it.
Right.
Look at us.
So Tampa to Sacramento on
Here we
best
go.
traffic is 2,800 miles.
Best traffic.
Assuming they're driving.
What about Monday morning traffic?
That was a Trumpism.
Hartford
true.
to Sacramento is 2,900 miles. So Hartford is just a tiny bit further.
Oh.
This segment brought to you by besttraffic.com.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to know what the best traffic is in your area, sponsor us.
Oh man, that'd be a good segment though.
No.
It's
I'd enjoy it.
That's what Google says. It's
And then we'll start doing the
route
weather,
or the best
and then we'll move
traffic.
on to.
What is they
breaking
doing to
news.
save 1,000 miles on your cross-country road trip? Tune into the USL show as we talk to you about this.
The Reno Canasta Club meeting every Tuesday at the VFW Hall.
Thank you.
Or we could have St. Louis Tulsa for a pretty close distance final.
It's true. That'd be close.
The pretty close distance final.
Be close.
Don't go. Please don't
We're
go.
off the rails again.
Yep. When are we on?
Well, we got one more. We can do one more topic real quick.
Sure.
Queensboro. FC
Yeah.
was announced.
Welcome, new friends.
Logo. Yeah.
I get a little Bret Hart vibe with the pink and black.
I like that.
Yep. Good lettering.
The bridge
Bad
at the
name.
top is my favorite part.
Yep. Just tired of the FCSC, AFC. Can they at least be Queensboro AFC? You know, like
Break up.
what happened to teams like Sporting Kansas City where they were going to try to make a rugby team and all that other nonsense? Then none of it happened, and they're like, "Well, we committed."
There's a
They're so
FIFA player,
committed they
there's
turned
a
their
new
two
sports
team. And now Mike Watts has a home team to root for. Apparently, he tweeted that out as well. So congratulations to him.
At least in social media news, the Mets at least welcomed Queensboro on their Twitter. So it makes it seem like the New York Mets actually tweeted an official welcome to Queensboro. So they are getting at least a recognition from the neighborhood.
That is cool.
Overall, I mean, it's a solid-looking launch. I mean, it's definitely one of those you don't look and go, "What are they doing?" And look and go, "That's not bad." I mean, granted, I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of Queensboro merchandise, but it's one of those as a neutral fan, I think you could latch onto them probably more than the other area teams of
Well,
New
that's the
York
thing,
Red
though.
Bull too.
the best merch in the USL right now, well, to be in the USL, I think is the Oakland Roots stuff's pretty amazing. And so far, Queensboro has very good visuals, very nice video editing, and they have the potential to have some cool stuff in pink and black. So they could go there.
I mean,
Would
it's no
rank-
Louisville. It's no Louisville rebrand though. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Where would you rank the Queensboro logo and the logos of all the New York area soccer clubs?
Someone got in trouble for this. USL Aces got in trouble for this, right?
Yeah, I saw that tweet. That's
Oh,
what I was
no.
referring to.
Well, he just forgot some tiny clubs and they got upset.
Oh, what? I mean, all right.
Wait, it's Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, it's bound to happen. You know, you put an opinion out there, and
is this where
You
you
miss
insert a
12% supporters. It's you're the worst person in the world. You know that, right?
I think he,
yeah,
Is it-
I mean, well aware.
Is this where you insert a Cosmos joke?
He had them in 8th.
I don't have to insert one when the club themselves are, do
I just meant he missed some small clubs and.
I?
and
Oh,
and-
get it.
Small clubs like the
I'm
Cosmos.
kidding. I'm kidding, Cosmos. Please do not. I don't know. My Twitter feed's been blowing up anyway, so whatever.
All
Add
four
to
of
the
your
chaos.
fan will be really angry about that one.
I'm trying to find his list, but
Too late. Too late.
yep, too late.
Speaking
Too
of
late.
Too late. 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Let's get out of here.
Let's do it. Hey, thank you to Roughneck Scarves, Icarus FC, Beautiful Game Network podcast for allowing this to happen. I think is the right word for that, the right phrase for that. If you want to hang out, say hi, talk to us, tell us we're terrible, tell us you like us, whichever, this, that, and the third, which I've been seeing more of telling us you like us recently, which is really kind of you. Thank you. At the USL show on the Twitters. You can find all of us sort of around there as well. But be safe, wear a mask above your nose and your mouth, all that fun stuff. You're going to go outside. And we have one rule here. We try to abide by it. Occasionally I don't because I'm from the Northeast. I apologize. Just don't be a dick. We'll talk to you next week.